So, let's talk. Any of you? Yes.
Mr. Mussolini, you are very passionate. Did you have the same leadership qualities as a young man?
She wanted to know if I exhibited the same passion and strength as I do now when I was a young man. And to that I have to say yes, absolutely, and without a doubt. Although I have in some aspects matured and strengthened as I've grown up, my ideas have changed, grown stronger, grown better to rule a nation. The same seed of revolution, of conflict, has always remained within me. My father, a damned socialist though he may have been, always taught me well that revolution was necessary, that revolution was the only way to achieve change. And I believed that quite thoroughly. In fact, as a young man, I was sent to a boarding school at one point because of certain disciplinary issues I had. That is not the story. And within a matter of weeks, I threw mutiny and overruled the staff, took over the school for myself, and then was sent home. But it was a victory nonetheless. Ooh, yes.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a number of places. Though my heart always remained here in the motherland of Italy, I lived in Sweden for quite a while. And I learned to see some of the advantages of this system, but eventually the cracks, the faults of socialism. Yes.
Dear leader, I am but a simple woman, and I've heard you tell us that communism is a bad philosophy. I've heard you tell us that socialism is a bad philosophy. And I've heard you tell us that fascism is a good philosophy, but yet I don't understand the difference. Will you please explain it to me?
This poor soul is wondering the difference between fascism, communism, and socialism. Well, it's quite easy to explain. See, communism, while it does share many of the same concepts as socialism, and even as fascism, that being the simple concept of working together for the greater whole that is so integral to fascism, is polluted by the concepts of capitalism and individuality that lead to discordance and strife within a society that do not contribute to the greater whole. In addition, socialism and communism both contribute to the neutered worldview of democracies, that prevention of conflict, of battle, that rage that is necessary for change, necessary for growth, necessary for our advance into the modern era. The beauty of fascism is that it emphasizes liberty with responsibility. It gives people choices and power without allowing them to abuse them as they do in other countries. Yes. Do I like any Americans? Absolutely. There are millions of our own people, of our proud Italians, living on American soil, who, given the slightest chance, given the slightest need, would come right back home, ready for war, ready for battle should the war break out. But more than that, there have been quite a few Americans who I have liked. The Roosevelts are one very sad, tragic example of this. Theodore Roosevelt, we all were very excited for. He in particular seemed to have a lot of very good ideas. The concept of his big stick diplomacy resonated quite deeply here, as well as in Germany and Spain, I believe. And even Franklin had some very good ideas initially. We communicated quite a bit and were on very good terms, especially while he was establishing his New Deal. However, he has turned his back, not just on me, but on the entire movement of fascism, and has decided to rely instead on capitalism. He is a war profiteer and has converted America into one as such, and has corrupted it to the core. Yes.
Mr. Mussolini, who do you admire or look up to?
Who do I admire or look up to? Oh, that's a difficult question. And on most days, I would say myself.
Yes.
However, I have a great respect for those who came before me, the emperors of the Roman Empire, of many names, of many guises, but truly one long line, one similar person, and always at the helms of the empire. The name matters not, the time matters not, whether it is I or Octavius or even Caesar. It is the same in spirit. Yes.
I just have a question about your relationship with the press.
What is the question?
Newspapers and the situation. Do you have a free press in Italy?
Free is a word that Americans love to bandy about. I have some reluctance using it. The press in Italy is the truth. It is finely groomed through. It is checked to make sure it remains the truth, that it remains unadulterated by the biases, by the lies, by the mistruths and the misleading truths that are so prevalent in the Western media, in the Western countries. The danger of democracy, of so-called free speech, is that it is inevitably dominated by intellectuals, by elites, and it only serves to provide a false sense of freedom, of accuracy to the common folk who are lied to and misled.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'd like to introduce you to Duncan Boren. Being the person I think involved longest in Silver State Young Chautauqua, who has questions for Duncan about Chautauqua or anything else that you'd like to ask him? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just rushing ahead because we have a really super extra special bonus for you tonight. I'm so sorry, Duncan. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Duncan Boren. I've been in Chautauqua 11 years. I just graduated from the Davidson Academy of Nevada, and I'm moving on to UNR next year with a major in biochemistry.
Now the questions for Duncan. Yes.
Why did you choose Mussolini?
Why did he choose Mussolini?
I don't really know where the spark was. At some point I must have seen a picture of him or heard the name and been like, oh yeah, that guy, I remember him. But once I started digging into him, I kind of abandoned the theme for this year a little bit because I just love the idea so much. Don't tell anyone. I've always liked doing kind of controversial characters. Benedict Arnold was one of my favorite characters I did. But I've never done someone who's actually in the wrong. I genuinely believe that Benedict Arnold was a good person who, for the most part, did the right thing up until West Point. He didn't defeat his kids, and he didn't have enough money to, unless he switched to the British side. It's a really sad story, actually. But anyway, Mussolini, not in that situation, not hurting for money and needing to feed his children, not making one dubious decision. He's a bad person. He's a terrible person. The worst. Not the worst, but bad. And I've never quite done that. And it seemed like a good way to end my Chautauqua experience. And the more I looked into it, the more he has this crazy blustering character and his ideals that switch rapidly. And I also kind of he's a very good speaker. He's a very good persuader. And so if you just kind of read what he says, it's really easy, actually, to just sit down and go, yeah, okay, fascism. I guess I'm all right with that. That was amazing, and I wanted to spread that to all of you.
I personally think it was the cool hat. Duncan is already tall, impossibly tall. Other questions? Oh, come on. Oh, sorry.
Why did you join Chautauqua?
Why did Duncan join Chautauqua?
Well, I had a big brother once upon a time. I still do, kind of, but he's few inches shorter. And he, being a big brother, was the coolest guy ever. And he joined Chautauqua when he was in 4th grade, and I was a kindergartner. And I thought, oh man, that's the coolest thing ever. I want to do that, because my big brother was doing it, but I wasn't old enough. I had to wait 2 years. And so for 2 years, I was so excited. And I was thinking about who was I going to be, and this and that. And then I was old enough, and I joined it. I had a good time.
Yes.
So did you learn anything from Mussolini that will enhance your personal character?
Her question is, did you learn anything from studying Mussolini that will enhance your personal character?
Well, on a very basic level, I think I did learn a little bit just from watching Mussolini talk and reading his speeches. He was a really good speaker. I like the way he talks. It's not exactly how I would speak normally, but it's solid, and I think that's affected me a little bit, probably for the better. However, also just reading more deeply into the ideals of various systems of government was interesting, and the fact that, you know, fascism, socialism, communism, they all have differences, but what matters a lot more seems to be who's in charge and what they think those differences are.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, or the fact that, like, Mussolini and Gandhi on great terms, Mussolini and FDR on great terms for a while, Mussolini and Lenin were on great terms for a while, which is really crazy considering that he was completely against communism later on.